Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into News of Time to Me. I'm excited because we're finishing out Zechariah, and then we're on the last book of the Old Testament. Today we're reading through chapters 13 and 14, and that's the end of that. And then we're gonna read all of Malachi tomorrow, just 4 chapters. So, all right. Cleansing from sin, chapter 13. On that day, a fountain will open to the house of David and the house of inhabitants of Jerusalem, to cleanse them from sin and impurity. On that day I will banish the names of the idols from the land. They will be remembered no more, declares the Lord Almighty. I will remove them. I will remove both the prophets and the spirit of impurity from the land, and if anyone still prophesies their father and mother to whom they were born, will say to them, You must die, because you have told lies in the Lord's name. Then their own parents will stab the one who prophesies. On that day, every prophet will be ashamed of their prophetic vision. They will not put on a prophet's garment of hair in order to deceive. Each will say, I am not a prophet. I am a farmer. The land has been my livelihood since my youth. If anyone asks, What are these wounds on your body? They will answer, The wounds I was given at the house of my friends. So he's going to banish all the idols, and he's going to call the prophets forward, and he's going to call the farmers and the people running the land. And he's going to clear out all the sin that is bad within the land. So the shepherd struck the sheep, the sheep scattered. So that's the name of it. Awake, sword, against my shepherd, against the man who is close to me, declares the Lord Almighty. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered, and I will turn my hand against the little ones. In the whole land, declares the Lord, 2/3 will be struck down and perish, yet 1/3 will be left in it. This third I will put into the fire. I will refine them like silver, and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, They are my people, and they will say, The Lord is our God. So, he he's waiting for he's gonna do this so the people can declare that he is their God. If That's what this is pretty much saying, is like he's gonna strike them, so the people that believe in him can say it. So, all right, chapter 14. The Lord comes and reigns. A day of the Lord is coming, Jerusalem, when your possessions will be plundered and divided up within your walls. I will gather all the nations of Jerusalem to fight against it. The city will be captured, the house ransacked, and the women raped. Half of the city will go into exile, but rest of the people will not be taken from the city. Then the Lord will go out and fight against those nations, as he fights on a day of the battle. On that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem, and the mountain of Olives will split in two from east to west, forming a great valley, with half of the mountain moving north, and half moving south. You will flee by my mountains, valley for the extended Azel. You will flee as you fled from the earthquake. In the day of Uzzah, king of Judah, the land my God will come, and all the holy ones with him. On that day there will be neither sunlight nor cold frosty darkness. It will be a unique day, a day known only to the Lord, with the distinction between day and night. When evening comes, there will be light. On that day, living water will flow out from Jerusalem, half of it east to the Dead Sea, half of it west to the Mediterranean Sea, in the summer and the winter. The Lord will be king over the whole earth. On that day, there will be one Lord, and his name, the only name. The whole land of Geba Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, will become like an Arab, but Jerusalem will be raised up high from Benjamin gate of to the site of the first gate to the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel to the royal winepress, and will remain in its place. It will be inhabited. Never again will it be destroyed. Jerusalem will be secure. This is the plague with which the Lord will strike all the nations that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot while they are still while they are in their socket, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. On that day, people will be stricken by the Lord with great panic. They will seize each other by the hand and attack one another. Judah will fight at Jerusalem. The wealth of the surrounding nations will be collected, great quantities of gold and silver and clothing. A similar plague will strike the horses and mules and camels and donkeys and all the animals in those camps. Then the survivor from all the nations that have attacked Jerusalem will go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord Almighty, and to celebrate festivals of tabernacle. If any of the people of the earth do not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord Almighty, they will have no rain. If the Egyptian people do not go up and take part, they will have no rain. The Lord will bring on them the plague he inflicts on the nations, and do not go up to celebrate the festival of the tabernacle. This will be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations that do not go up to celebrate the festival of the tabernacle. On that day, holy to the Lord, will be inscribed on the bell of the horses, and cooking pots in the Lord's house will be like the sacred bowls in front of the altar. Every pot in Jerusalem, Judah, will be holy to the Lord Almighty, and all who come to sacrifice will take some of the pots and cook them. And on that day there will no longer be Canaanite in the house of the Lord Almighty. So he's planning on taking one group of people out of the house, and he's planning on just fixing things. He's planning on adjusting things so they're a lot better in his eyes. He's gonna separate the people that believe in him and the people that don't believe in him. So that's what he's planning on doing. But yeah, God really, really wants to, break everything down, break everything in half, so we can, people know who believes and who don't believe. So, all right. So that's it for that. We're on to Malachi now, which is I'm gonna be reading that whole thing tomorrow. It's three, but it's also four. Four is like very, very short. And then we are actually officially on the New Testament. So, um, yeah, I've been ready to hit this book for a while, but now we're finally here, and it's gonna be interesting to see how the story actually plays out as opposed to what people have told me. Now, a lot of people read the New Testament, but a lot of people say not to care about the Old Testament. The Old Testament taught me a lot of stuff. The New Testament, it just adjusts some things. You need the whole entire Bible to be able to understand everything. You don't just read the New Testament, because even in Revelation it says not to tear the Scripture apart. So it could be that when they broke it apart for the New Testament, they probably made that mistake that was not told at the end, where you're not supposed to tear the Scripture, the scroll apart, because that's what this technically is, a scroll. So, just my line of thinking, just my thoughts. A lot of people have lately, the past few months have gotten extremely worse for people, going after me. Um, where I put my comic and publish it, I had a guy that's a YouTuber. I figured out who he was. Start going, he went after me over there in my comment section, and he was saying all types of stuff to me. And I want you guys to understand the reason things are certain ways for me, and the reason I do react a certain way to things is I have PTSD. People don't want to believe it. They want to blame it on something completely different. And so, I've been through a lot of really bad events. I've been through a near-death experience, a couple near-death experiences, to be honest. And, it does bring out it is something that I fight with. And when people get on my last nerve on the internet and say awful stuff to me, I'm a human being, you know, I'm gonna react, and people want people are like Christians are supposed to be this calm, peaceful people. We're not supposed to fight against anybody. The truth is we're not supposed to be weak. God doesn't like his people being weak. I I know Jesus Christ died on a cross, but we also have to look at the fact that there were crusades based on Christianity long ago, even after Jesus Christ. So I want you to take that into consideration, and I want you to understand some of what I'm about to read in the New Testament isn't as what you think. I'll literally sit there and tell you what it is. And when it says love thy neighbor, you know what that actually means? Yes. Help your neighbor out. Make sure your neighbor doesn't starve. Make sure your neighbor's not dying. But don't let your neighbor tread on you. That's what that means. Be kind, but be stern. Because sometimes people mistake that quotes as something else it's not. And, there's a couple in there. I looked at them like, no, this doesn't mean be completely kind. This means, you know, make sure Make sure you care for your neighbor, but don't let them tread all over you. So that'll be stuff I talk about over there. But okay, with that said, guys, hopefully you liked this. If you did, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. We're one more book away from finishing the Old Testament. So God bless you and take it easy.